This is our syrup shack. This is where the syrup is actually cooked. Come in here, you can see that this whole thing is called the evaporator, which is what we use to make our maple syrup. And it starts out by, first of all, you have to come up here and you have to let out the sap, which you get from maple trees, which is basically water, and like it's 0.2% content is sugar, or 0.02% is sugar. And then as it gets in here, you're gonna want to fill it up, so that there's maybe about like this much sap in there. And then to make the maple syrup, you actually have to get a fire going. So you have to come over here and use heat to heat it up to evaporate the water out of the sap to make it just so it's more sugar and less water, which will make it sweeter and more like maple syrup. So once you get the fire going, gradually the sap. Well, this end is deeper and this end is like shallower. So as the sap cooks, the stuff that like down there it's gonna be warmer, and here it's not gonna be as cool because the fire only goes this far. So as you start cooking, the sap will the water will start evaporating out of the sap, and it'll become, the sugar content will become higher. And since this is deeper and that's shallower, the stuff that's less dense, which would be the syrup, is going to be moving this way, so it's shallower. And it starts out over there, the stuff that's pretty much sap starts over there, and as it moves along through these channels, which gradually get shallower and shallower, and it comes over here, and as more water evaporates, it comes through here, and this stuff is pretty much halfway done right here, and it keeps going, and as I said earlier, it's going to get shallower and shallower, and as it comes down this way, it's going to get warmer, which will make it evaporate quicker. We just got done collecting sap, and we've been cooking for about 10 minutes, so I'll just show you what's going on right now. We got the fire started to evaporate the water out of the sap to make it have a higher sugar content before it can turn into syrup. And as you can see, it's starting to boil. It's pretty hot. But over here is the stuff that's going to be more dense, and over here is stuff that's less dense. So if you look over here, and you look this up, it's more of a water type, and it's not as dark. And then as you move down, like this stuff will be darker and maybe a little stringier. If you keep moving, this stuff's a lot darker than it is over there. And then this stuff is almost ready to be maple syrup, but it's still pretty watery. And then this stuff right here is the least dense, which is in a little while will be good enough for syrup. And you can see that the water is evaporating with all this mist, not mist, steam.
There you go, buddy.
And this is what's regulating how much sap is coming in. It's floating, it's boiling, so it'll be floating above the water, and depending on how much water is in there, it'll go up and down, which will allow more and less sap in there. So now it's been about an hour since we've been cooking, and if you come in here, fire's still going. You gotta keep going to keep the sap boiling, because otherwise it'll settle out and mix all together again. So over here, this stuff is starting to actually boil now because it's been in here for a while, and you can see last time it was a lighter color, it looked more like sap. And now since the fire is getting back here, it's starting to actually turn into some, are you filming it? Nope. Some form of maple syrup, and it's still floating through here. And it's pretty much cooking pretty good all over the place. Probably in about an hour, the stuff over here will be ready. And look over here. If you look over here, it's a lot darker now, and it's getting a little bit more stringy. And still have a pretty good rate of water coming in here.
Sap.
Sap, I mean. So probably about like an hour or two, this will be done. Right now, if you look, compare this stuff, which is the least dense, to this, which is the most dense. You can tell a big difference. Can't? Look at this. It's a lot darker. If we go here, it's a lot lighter. So we'll probably check up on it again in an hour.